Hello, you are with Baz and you're listening to Blues on the Hill. And I'm at Way Out West Blues and Roots Club in Melbourne. And I'm with a man who epitomises the blues in every way. He's a nomadic musician who lives his life on the road. His home is wherever the next performance takes him, from America to Europe to Australia and all stops in between. His name is Eugene Hideaway Bridges. Eugene, welcome to Blues on the Hill.
Good to be here after a powerful show. Just relaxing and still got a little energy happening.
That's good to hear. Now, before we talk about your life on the road, can you tell us a little bit about your childhood and your musical background?
Well, my childhood was music. At 2 years old, I had this plastic shovel because Hideaway Slim, my dad, was a blues man, and he's playing his guitar all the time and whistling and singing. But there's music in my head, and I didn't know how to bring that out. So I would find the only thing I had was this toy shovel that my mama gave me. And I put rubber bands on it. I try to find those sounds. Now, all of us as kids would say, "Oh, I want to be just like that. I want to be just like that."
Yeah.
But when he saw me, he said, "You really do want to be like me." So he had this 1964 Harmony Rocket. He still have it right now, Sunburst. Well, he played that, and he set me and put the strap the guitar so it don't fall over, and he started showing me how to make those honky tonk riff. Now I had to earn that because when I first started doing it, pluck 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 pluck. He said you got to mash it. You got to earn those blisters on your fingers. You got to earn that pain. You got to earn those chords and make them ring out, make them sing. Don't stop until you can hear it sing.
Beautiful.
You know, these are things that do it right the first time, because going back and doing it, you double working yourself. So he showed me this honky tonk riff, and he went out and shot basketball, game of 21. Now when you come back, not only what I'm playing the honky tonk he showed me, but I'm playing other stuff that's playing around in my head. There's so many sounds in my head, I just didn't know how to bring it out. Now that's my first taste, how to match those chords and earn those blisters, earn those chords, and bring out that sound. So he later on showed me something else. He showed me what you guys call the 1-4-5. See, that's the technical. But
yeah.
when you pour and you most guitar players, they learn just by learning. You take it and just learn. That's why it's called a starvation box. You know, you either play it or starve to death. You know, and that's the truth. That's the truth. If you didn't make any money. So as a kid, I would learn that one chord or what's called a 1-4-5.
Yeah.
And again, when I realized how you move your fingers around to make these sounds come out, then all those sounds in here start searching. That's 2 years old.
Wonderful.
2 years old. Okay, January 2nd, Daddy bought me a guitar. He brought a guitar home. It wasn't a new guitar. It was someone gave it to him, or he got it some kind of way. But he brought it home to me.
Yeah.
But it only had 4 of the 6 strings. I had to earn the other 2 strings. Earn it by taking time to learn to play it. Earn it by putting forth an effort. Not like a lot of millionaire idiots we have out there. They learn 2 or 3 chords, and then people throw money at them. They become a millionaire before they learn their craft. So I took my time to learn it. And when Daddy broke a string on his rocket, he taught me how to tie it up and put it on my guitar and use that string. Don't throw nothing away. You
Wonderful.
know? And I learned, by the time I had 6 strings, I was able to play. March 30th, I turned 3 years old, and I was already playing backup for Daddy, because I was catching on. I was learning. I was willing to learn. And from 3 till about 7 years old, by the time I turned 7, Daddy started preaching. I would play blues. I would travel with him, and they put me on the stool, and my feet just swinging, and I could play during the daytime at the club. He'd take me home, and he'd go back to the club, and he'd make it home some. When I was 2, about to turn 3, this was my guitar lesson. And that was it. Hideaway Slim, I called him Daddy. He taught me that riff, but he taught me how to search for that sound. Because everything else was up here. I had to bring it out there to here. And back in the day, I wrote something especially from that riff. Girl, you know I love you, good time and bad. Stood by your side, and you felt oh so sad. Work hard for you, baby, that wasn't enough for you. You're doing me wrong, look what you put me through. Oh, baby, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. I'm gonna pack up all my things, I believe I'm moving on. Hey man, she told me, she heard through the grapevine, you've been stepping out with that old friend of mine. The neighbors are talking about the place that you go. You don't change your ways, somebody's gotta go. Oh baby, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. I'm gonna pack up all my things, I believe I'm moving on. Gave you my money, gave you my time. You're doing me wrong, driving me out of my mind. Baby, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. I'm gonna pack up all my things, I believe I'm moving on. This is the thing Hideaway Slim taught me how to play. They that instrumental Hideaway, they request that for him to play all the time. He played some T-Bone Walker, B.B. King, Jimmy Reed. Now those were just names to me. I don't know. I wouldn't know it if they came up and shook my hand. I wouldn't know it. When B.B. shook my hand at 7 years old in New Orleans, I didn't know who he were. You know, he was
wonderful
introduced.
Experience.
He was introduced. I saw this guitar sitting there at Fats Domino's house, and I played this guitar. He said, "Oh, that's my stuff you playing." I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that was your guitar. I just saw it sitting there." He said, "No, that's not my guitar. That's my stuff you playing. I'm B.B. King." And I shook his hand like it was gonna shake it off. I said, "Man, my daddy love you. My daddy told me a whole lot about you. My daddy love you." You know, it was just that at 7 years old. Now, at the same time, 7 years old, I started teaching other kids. I started playing for my pastor. I started playing because my daddy started preaching. He taught us, me and my brother, how to play, do gospel. So that's the first time I had records. The first time I learned from a record, listening to the Mighty Clouds of Joy, Dixie Hummingbirds, Jackson Southern Airs, Willie Banks and the Messengers. And I learned how to harmonize, I learned how to play bass, I learned how to play guitar, I learned singing gospel behind. And I wasn't the lead singer. My brother Aaron was the lead singer. But my daddy saw me choking him because he was messing it up. And I would wake up and Daddy said, why don't you take over singing? So I became the singer, you know.
Can you remember who's your biggest musical influences? So you've mentioned B.B. King, Freddie King.
No, really.
Okay.
Really, there was never, even B.B. King, I didn't know who these guys were. The biggest influence I had were sounds that was around me. The sound of a train going by. Wow, wow. That's what they would hear. That's what you would hear when a train go by. I hear la da la da 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 da. That was my influence. Searching for a sound that was always playing in here. I never knew anything about B.B. King or T-Bone Walker. I just heard these names. Never had a record. You know, I didn't grow up listening to stuff like that. Much as I love what Daddy was doing, Daddy was not my, you know, I love what he did. And I was inspired by what he did and with the gospel. And I learned through him, Ella Utah Smith used to hold Sunday service at his church when he was a little boy. So that sound from Ella Utah Smith was inspired by Daddy. So a lot of his sounds peeled out on me. But as far as T-Bone Walker, Jimmy Reed, and Albert King, none of those cats, I didn't know anything about that. I was always a self-made man. I was constantly searching washing machine, or I could hear a refrigerator. We was poor. The equipment made a lot of noise. So the noise and the life around us inspired me. The people that was teaching me and talking to me, that was inspirational. That wrote up a lot for me. The sounds, the stories, and the grooves and the music, that just was developing in my head over and over and over and over. I never had the opportunity to learn from a B.B. King or from a Albert Collins or Albert King or anything like that. No, there never was. A lot of cats do. I don't see nothing wrong with that. A lot of guys, they learn from the records. They heard this guy say, "Oh, I like to be like that." I had this sound coming out. Daddy just taught me in the beginning on that open tune, on that riff, that honky tonk riff, how to teach myself to bring that sound out. And how to keep searching for that sound. Wonderful. So it wasn't artists who inspired me. It was life itself.
Okay, let's move to the 90s. You were travelling through Europe, and you met B.B. King's bass player, Joe Turner. Tell us what happened next.
Okay, I used to fly to Europe once a year and do concerts because I could not get an agent anywhere in America, from New York all the way to Los Angeles. And I would travel, I would fly, I would beg, I would almost beg, steal, and rob to try to get an agent, just to take the time to listen. You don't have to sign me. If you thought I was crap, you didn't think I was good enough, just say, "Hey, you ain't good enough. I heard you, I listened to you," but just to take the time to listen. Now, I had kids to feed. I had stepkids to feed. I had rent to pay in my house. I had rent to pay for my kids at their mother's house. So I had to take a job. I had to get a real job, what they call a real job. But yet and still, I didn't give up on my music. I could only reach the few people that I was able to reach. So one day, after going back and forth to Europe once a year and doing a big giant concert and festival, and seeing how much love I was receiving over there, I decided I'm walking away from this. Somewhere, someone gonna give me an agent to let me do what I was born to do. The second day in Paris, I bought a one-way ticket. I bought a one-way ticket because I believed in myself. I had faith in myself. And Eugene Carrier, who used to play Hammond for B.B. King, he gave me a lot of numbers. He said, "Don't come back. If these numbers don't work out, call me, collect, and I'll send you some more." He introduced me to an agent in Paris. My second day, I was signed to that agent. He sent me over to Katie Blues. At the time, it's called Katie Blues. Later on, they changed the Maxwell Cafe. It's back to Katie Blues again in Neuilly, just off the Champs-Élysées. I went to the club. That's where Joe Turner, who was the bass player for B.B. King, he was the house bass man there. There was a lady, Gloria Thompson, and her husband was playing drums. They was the headline act those 2 weeks that I got there. So, and they already had a drummer and a sax player from Detroit, Gary Wiggins. They had all this in play. So that same night, I'm signed to the club. Joe saw me when they introduced me to come up and do the second half, to open up the second half. The owner of the club said, "You're not going back." Joe Turner said, "You're not going back to Texas. Well, I'm keeping you here." And he got me to work to lead his band. Also, he with Mystic Records, and my name started going worldwide that day, and I was able to travel and work with Joe Turner and do his music, play his music and everything, until later on I had to break out, because again, I got to let my wings fly, spread and just fly away. And I met Mike Vernon, who also produced Peter Green and the Fleetwood Mac crew. Same Vernon. He produced my album with Blue Side, called Born to Be Blue. And the song I did tonight, "A Change Gonna Come," that was on that Blue Side, as well as Good Times by Sam Cooke.
Yeah, that was my next question. In the late 90s, you topped the British and European magazine polls as the best male vocalist, and you released your first album, of course. So,
yes, and that's when my name started to grow. And as I traveled, and with the live album, live in Dublin, Then the Born to Be Blue album came out after that. I worked with that record company for a while. That was my first time to Australia in 1999 on the strength of that album, Soul Blues album. It won the awards in South Carolina in the Beach Boogie area for the #1 song. That was my first #1 hit over there. And from the strength of that brought me, from Chris Rule, brought me to Australia for those 10 days. And those guys that played for me tonight, Declan Kelly on the drums and Roy Lane on the bass, they was part of the first crew that I met the first day here in Australia in 1999. And it was 21 of them. And they're closest family today as they were that first day. It was closest on the first day as they were today. Australia just opened up his arms to me and opened up his heart to me that day, and it added another place because my job was to write this music and deliver for people to grow from. You know, it's not all about give me my paycheck, I'm out of here. I want people to grow from this. I want people to learn from this. I want people to get something out of this, of what I do, and I want it to be effective, and that's what I try to do. No one can teach me that. You know, B.B. King records or Johnny Cash records or anybody else records can't teach me that. I had this message to deliver. All this was the spiritual side of it. See, that's what's missing with a lot of music, the spiritual side. If you don't stand for a spiritual ideal or stand for something, it goes in one ear and out the other. It's a hit right now, and then as long as they're paying for it to be a hit. And then later on, you'll see a TV show at the end of the year say, "Oh, let's count down all the worst songs that were played this year." And you know, they try to count them all down, but they try to, you know, it's too many to go through. They say, "Well, okay, we'll just do 100, or we just do the top 10 or whatever." That's more of that. That's more of that. Yeah. They done paid millions. Every song is a hit when you coming from the heart, when you coming from the spirit. Every song, every time is a hit. You know, and that's what I try to do. I try to reach people, because if I can't reach you, I'm wasting your time as well as my time.
Absolutely, and as a you know, watching people play, you feel that in the audience. You know, you know when people aren't putting in. You know when they're not. You know, and you can feel it as you know, as a blues lover like myself. In 2000. You were signed to blues label Armadillo, one of the world's great blues labels, and you're still with them 6 albums later.
6 albums down the road.
2007, you released your self-titled album, which was recorded with friends and fellow musicians. Yeah, tell us about that one.
I had a chance to, in 2000, record all over the world. I had Lucky Oceans from Sleep at the Wheel, and I had the greatest male vocalist that ever come out of Australia. I'm not just pissing in your pockets. I'm not blowing dust up the bowl. But Mr. Ian Moss, he played guitar. He didn't sing on the album, but he played guitar. Next time I'd like to get him to sing, but he did a wonderful job on Special Friend. And even when I play it to people who knew that going back, that song takes me back to Paris at that same club. And when they knew the reality of that song, they just blown away, and they heard Ian Moss play. So yeah, I had quite a few special guests on there, and I broke it down with just me and the guitar, because that was the best way I could explain. A lot of people say, "Well, you blues, but you know, I think you could do some R&B, or you know, you blues, I think you could do some gospel." I've been doing this all my life, you know, all of it. So I did that to let them know this is who I am. The classical side, the blues side, the country side, the Americana side, the folk side, the heavy blues, the heavy metal side, everything. It's all, you know, I just never know you don't see a set list on my stage. It's all up here. And the band, sometimes, well, these guys, they know me like the back of my hand, but they get blown away when I have to, when I don't. Other bands, they get blown away because I don't do a set list, and I got to stick to a list that they make, you know. But they know me. I follow my heart.
Let's talk about your latest release, "Rockin' a Hard Place," recorded in 2011 with a full horn section. I'm going to play a track from that now. What's your favourite track from that CD and why?
Oh man, every track on there is my favorite. So whichever track you choose, there's a story behind it, and there's a lot of heart into it. So I would say I would say BB, the song called BB, the last track on there, because that is, I had to, and I gave that album to BB King. That is the story, to let BB King know that he was appreciated, that the efforts and the hard work that he did, it wasn't in vain, and the things that he went through, he opened up a lot of doors for a lot of people and made a lot of things possible, and it wasn't forgotten. So yeah, I would say that is a very important song, but I'm in love with all of them, just as strong.
That's okay, we'll hear that one, and then we'll be back for some more Eugene Hideaway Bridges. Okay, you're back with Blues on the Hill, you're with Baz, and I'm with Eugene Hideaway Bridges. Now, you're a regular visitor to our shores. You've played Blues Fest multiple times. This year you played the Port Fairy Folk Festival. How did a Texan blues man go down at Port Fairy at the Folk Festival?
It was a storm. A lot of people, like when I play different festivals that are like same thing with the Gimpy Muster. If I'm playing a festival that I'm not widely known, they wouldn't know what to expect until the first song. The first song, they're like, "Who the hell is this guy?" When are you playing? Let's check our books and find out, because a lot of people they take their book when they come into the festival and they're camping. They already circled what they're gonna see and circle who they're gonna know. I don't know that guy. I don't know that guy. Eugene Hideaway, I don't know him yet. But when they hear the sound, to know me, it's the same thing with the Port Fairy. They was very welcoming down there. The staff, it was the town who was working there as the volunteers. So you had a chance to meet the entire city. Although the place is overrun, thousands of people, but as you arrive, and the people who was helping you out with the transportation, who was taking you to your stage, who was in charge of your equipment, that was the city. That was the people of the city, of the town, the shopkeepers, the moms and grandmoms, and the school bus driver, and
wonderful community spirit.
The whole community. Yeah. So you get a chance to meet them, and once they see you and see what you're about and what you stand for, your light began to shine in, so they could see who you are even before they hear you play. And it start out like a slow burn diesel fuel. And then pretty soon it's a blaze, and that's all 4 days was a blaze.
Fantastic. So I think you might be back then.
This is my 30th trip to Australia since 1999, and we're celebrating the anniversary of the 30th trip. And those boys been part of it. Declan Kelly and Rowan Lane. We had Clayton Doley, but he wasn't here. He's in Canada. He'll be meeting me in Canada when we leave here on the 28th.
Okay. Now you've just reached a milestone in your life, having turned 50.
It's a milestone, yeah.
What's been your most memorable musical experience?
Every time I played with BB King, whether it was at the State Theater, whether it was at the Roy Albert Hall in London, whether it was in America at the Hershey Theater, doesn't matter. Every time I'm with BB, I'm able to learn. Every time I'm working with BB, he's constantly teaching me, inspiring me. But every time I hit the stage, I'm 3 years old all over again. So I don't feel 50. Yes, my body have made 50, and I'm 2 weeks into that, and but maybe 3, something like that. But I do not feel 50. And my favorite show is whenever people show up to see me sing, whether it's 2 or 2,000.
Fabulous. I'd love to thank you for your time and talking to me on Blues on the Hill. What does the future hold for Eugene?
The future hold is continue to try to do another 48 years of this, and even another 48 after that, and keep writing and inspiring the youth, because there's a lot of musicians out there. I see a lot of young kids who are upset because they're being told what to listen to, and they're being given music that they should listen to, and they're not happy with that. Yeah, it's a temporary fix, but when they see my show, they compare it to what they're listening to and say, I wish we had more of what you have. I wish we had more of this type of music to listen to and learn from and grow from, because I learned from the people of the yesterday, and I try to set an example so I can teach other kids to grow And like I did, I can inspire other people like B.B. King did for me, like my daddy did for me, or my B.B. did for my dad, and my dad did for me. So that's what the future is, to continue to write that kind of style, to continue to observe the countries I go to and respect their lifestyle and understand what they're going through and sing, sing songs that they can relate to.
Absolutely. Been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Continued success, and I look forward to your next visit.
Every time they call, I will be here.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Blues on the Hill with Baz. I've been with Eugene Hideaway Bridges at the Way Out West Blues and Roots Club in Melbourne. Until next time.
Yes, I'm living in clouding, trying to keep it crying. Trying to hide the fact that I gotta worry about. Be alive of the party. You seem to be my road. Be alive of the party. You seem to be my road. Trying to hide my feelings, and I'm trying to hide my soul. And I'm standing by the doorway, and I'm watching all the girls come back to do. I'm standing by the doorway, watching all the girls come driving through. Trying to find someone to take my mind off of you. Thank you so much. I gotta turn it loose. I gotta turn it loose. Trying to get my mind off of you. Thank you, everybody. We got to turn it loose. Thank you so much for the sound man doing a wonderful job. All the staff here at the RSL, each and every one of you, so much. We love you. Thank you so much. Oh, man. We will be coming back. We don't know how to say no. We will come back. Thank you.